Hey, everybody, my name is Sean Robinson,
I'm Brandon Graham.
and welcome to Living the Line. And today we have a very special guest. I have been waiting to talk to this gentleman for at least a year and a half, which is the first time I ever heard of his work. Xurxo Penalta, where have you been hiding?
I'm right here in La Coruña, Spain, in the northwest.
Fantastic.
Hang yourself, Shersha.
What?
We need your
Joking.
GPS coordinates now. No.
Oh,
Yeah, Xurxo, it's funny. So you came to my attention as the one of the two artists on Moonray, which you had already drawn many of your pages by the time the first package of Moonray stuff came to me as a possibility for Living the Line publishing it, and I was like, where did this guy come from? Like, what is this? I couldn't believe I hadn't heard of you, and then all these other people whose opinions I trust and were like, you never read blank, you never read blank. You've been collaborating on and off with Brandon for many years. What else have you been doing? Where did you come from? Where did you get the abilities that you have?
well, I come from La Coruña, as I said, and I'm self-taught, pretty much been drawing all my life. I did go to art school for the university, but I didn't learn anything to do with drawing there or with painting or anything. I painted on my own and stuff. It was all conceptual stuff and things like that. So I painted a lot, and I painted abstractly and stuff. So I left comics around that time, university time, just because of age maturity and the comics maturity. It was the 90s. So as I got mature, the comics got less mature or something. The comics I was reading, which were mainly superhero stuff and stuff. So I followed some authors that I always liked, but other than that, I put them aside, and then I came back later on. And after I was done with all my studies and things, I did a master in Minneapolis in the US, in Minnesota.
You did?
Yeah, I did. But
What school?
What school? MCAD.
I'm a professor at MCAD right now, a associate professor at MCAD right now, teaching.
I didn't know that. Well, I'm an ex alum or alumni or something like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Did a master degree there.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Yeah. But it's all painting and installation and stuff like that.
Right.
But I always do as a way of thinking. I would pretend that I was doing installations and things, but they were just drawings that would become installations and things like that. And I did draw a lot, but I didn't exhibit much of it because it wasn't as well regarded or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But after I came back around 2005 or something, I came back home and I understood. I had a bit of a depression period and stuff because of leaving the US and things. So I thought I would. I was much more comfortable with the comics medium or the illustration medium, particularly the comics medium, rather than the art, fine art medium, right. Gallery system or whatever that's called.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't comfortable just selling things for a lot of money eventually or not, and the value system and everything, and the comics and the illustration paradigm or whatever you want to call it was it made much more sense as an art exchange and things like that, and it was always my first love and things. So and it also took a lot less to produce in terms of investment on my account, economic investment,
right.
But not at all time investment,
yeah,
which was much larger even. But yeah, and much more enjoyable. And eventually with the social media and so on, I guess early Tumblr and DeviantArt and stuff like that, maybe even Flickr, if anyone remembers that. I got across to Brandon, and I liked his stuff a lot. I saw a lot of common themes and art styles, and Mobius and Thin Line and Linne Clark. Clean line and stuff like that, and I really liked his cartooning. So I bought some of his stuff on Amazon. I bought his porn comic that I can't remember the name now, but it's very good. And
Either it was
Much.
probably either Pillow Fight or
Pillow
Province of
Fight.
No.
Uh,
I was trying to
No,
remember back the first time that I think our first interaction was through DeviantArt, and I liked your amount of detail you're doing in your work and kind of the the heavy metal aesthetic. And I think at some point I was running these 5-page backups in the Prophet series, and you sent me one that was like where you're just trying to out Mobius and Darrow, Mobius and Darrow, and it was like this like this 5-page incredibly detailed. I didn't dig it up. It's been a while, but yeah, I remember running that. I ran that in the same. We had an issue where Dave Taylor did this brilliantly drawn like Dave Taylor is a guy who did this comic called Tongue Lash, which was like kind of like a tribute to Mobius comic with some of Mobius's translators in America, and he liked Prophet a lot, and so we did this like almost like Mobius tribute issue with Shersha and Dave in it, and I remember that's the first time and after seeing your work, me and you started talking about working together more.
yeah. We spoke a lot, and we shared, just art finds that you find randomly online, and it's all very exciting, and it was back then, and it is still now, I guess. But yeah, and we started chatting, and we had a lot in common, and eventually we did some Prophet stuff, also some interior pages, and then we did Kiem for the islands, or for the eight house.
For Eight
For
House,
the
yeah. So I should explain like yeah. So you did a fantastic work. We did these Prophet things that were just kind of these short. What else is going on in the universe of Prophet? And I remember one that you drew was these characters that were kind of living inside of hyperspace, and so their relationship with time was different than ours. And you drew them as like multi-faced people that were kind of splitting apart. Um, and I don't think I sent you notes as severe as that. I think you drew this. I think I had a vague idea, and then the way you illustrated it was really cool and took it much farther of what it
Yeah.
would be like to people that like experience time differently than us to grow. Yeah, and then we did this series called Eight House that was kind of this failed attempt at a shared universe thing that I did with a bunch of people, and uh, yeah, we did this issue called Kem about this. That was the main character's name, and only put out the first issue, but you went on and drew much more past that we did, and it's something that we'll get back to probably after Moonray.
Yeah,
yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
love working with Brandon.
you
Yeah,
told me there's 80 pages more of that hiding somewhere. So anybody who's read that will have their appetites wet a little bit.
Yeah,
and I think
I'll share it with you. I'll share it with you.
and this stuff's and one of the things about working with you that's really fun is like I feel like I write like an artist. So with you, a lot of it's really rough ideas, and then you run with it. So like Chem's an interesting thing because me and you talked through the plot, and I was like, it goes here and here and here. And the new 80 pages were not ideas I sent you. A lot of it was just you being like, it could go here and here and here. So it becomes really like a co-writing process where you come back with art that I didn't expect, and then I am basically adding dialogue and text to things, to new ideas.
Yeah, I feel like that too, but it's kind of because when I do, you send me these sketches of what the page layout would be or something, and then you said, I run with it, and then I'm pretty slow. So as I do the running, I start to think, oh my God, this is nothing at all like what he wanted, and this is nothing at all, and this is nothing at all. So, but eventually, I look back at what you sent, and it was quite close. But also, I think I don't want to characterize you, but I think you're a pretty forgetful guy. You have a lot on your head. So I always notice that whenever I send you the stuff, you're always like, what the fuck? I mean, like, this is nothing like, this is, what's this? Like, you don't even remember what you sent me. And then you obviously don't know what you're looking at. And it's, I have to tell you what's going on in the story you wrote, like, this is what's going on here.
It becomes a fun process because it's basically like when, like this Moonray stuff we're working on now, you're going to send me, I think we've got like 50 pages that you've drawn that I haven't done the lettering for yet, and for me it's like fresh, and those ones especially because I think I I probably sent you layouts for like 10 pages, and then the rest of it you just expanded into this massive action sequence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that one, it's like I'm coming at it as like a fan, where it's like fresh to me, and I'm like, what's he doing here? And a lot of it, I'll talk to you and be like, explain your drawings here, so I don't step all over it with the text. And also, I think there's an element of like, especially with your work, it's like you have to spend so much more time with the drawing than I do, than a writer does. And I think that's something unique to comics, is like the person drawing it better enjoy the world they're in, because they have to sit there with 10 hours maybe for a page and live in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Were you always drawing digital?
What?
Because I was just thinking back, like most of the collaborative stuff that we've done was all digital work, like all the way back to M. Was the, like, do you remember if the first Prophet stuff you did was digital, or was that one on paper?
No, it was digital.
Okay.
I made the decision earlier on. I think before we started collaborating, I made not too long before, but I was struggling with all the pens, and because I had these high expectations of what I wanted to do. I was looking at these great artists, you know, like Moebius and Manara and Otomo and all these wonderful, you know, Jorge Jimenez, all these amazing guys. And how are they doing this? You know, how in the world can you even get close to this? And when you're so lost because of youth or lack of expertise and lack of talent or whatever, you're so lost that you get these shredded pieces of information, right? And you get this idea that someone used to use this nib, and someone used to use this type of ink, and everything is like the holy grail, you know. Okay, that's it, right? That's gonna solve it, right? Or
if I just get the right paper, I'll draw exactly like Darrow.
Yeah, this self-taught thing is really great, because you're this explorer in this strange world, but it's full of ghosts and superstition, right? So once I saw these videos of Moebius, not right, drawing in Angoulême, right? You probably saw them, right? There's not too many, but there's probably like 10 or 15 if you look. But there's one or two that are very popular. So once I saw that, and once I saw he was getting the results, he was getting these very recognizable Moebius finishes with the digital live, and I was watching the evolution and the speed live, like it didn't take 10 hours. It was just one, you know, 10 minutes or something. It was, or a 15, right? And it was just this Wacom tablet and this pen and nothing else. I said, okay, just drop everything else. It was a way to drop 1,000 variables at once, right? The ink, the pen, the nib, the other thing, the brush, the hair, you know, this particular type of hair, this, you know, what Wally Wood was using in the 40s, it doesn't exist anymore. Oh my God, how am I gonna reach that? It's never, you know. So, you know, I just dropped everything, you know, and I just said, okay, I'm just gonna use this thing, and I'm just gonna use one size of pen, just one size pen in Photoshop, and I'm gonna do it in Photoshop like him. And everything else, the color, we can go wild, we can explain. So I dropped down everything, and I started doing that very, very, very exclusively. And I noticed that I could do it, that it was fine, and I got used to it, and I got familiar. And I noticed that I could go back to drawing in paper, and it was exactly the same. So my sketching was exactly the same as in the computer. So there was no gap. There was no. It's not an aid. It's not like a crutch that you will always need, you know, to perform. You can just go back. Obviously, I don't have the colors or whatever, right? The many colors that the computer provides, or undo color adjustments that you do later on. But I can just jump back into a notebook and do that. So I didn't feel a loss of technique or ability or dexterity, anything like that. So
yeah, it's a smart idea to simplify it down. Do you have? We were talking before about showing some of your process stuff and talking through. into that?
Yeah, I have pages of the last issue, of the issue that we're gonna publish on the second volume of Moonray.
Right.
If you wanna look through those, it's
Yeah.
kind of. How do I share the? Sorry,
There's a green button at the bottom that says share.
Oh yeah, a little arrow pointing up.
allow to
Oh, something that I don't think I've ever asked you, Shersha, which I think a lot about your work is normally I associate digital art, it messes with scale. Like when I when I can spot digital artists, it's that they're kind of bad oftentimes at showing the scale of the world around them. So but it's something you avoid. Like a major component of your work is showing things that look big. So I'm interested in how you don't how you avoid that trap, I guess, that other people fall into.
Yeah, let's get one of the pages up so we can talk about it specifically. But yeah, I'm with you.
So this is from issue 2, right?
Right.
What's the question again? Sorry, about size or what?
Oh yeah, because it seems like you know, people who work primarily digitally don't usually have a good global sense of the page, where you know you actually get the feel of a page as a unit, because they do so much zooming in and zooming out. You get this sort of like mess where there's not hierarchy to the page, you know. But your pages are so clean and so like clear and have such a good hierarchical structure that you can view them far out, or you can view them close up, and they've always got a sense of hierarchy to them, you know. So how are you doing that? How are you maintaining?
Like you have all the detail, but you're not. It doesn't look like you're going in and doing people's fingerprints. It's like it feels like you have a good sense of scale.
That's how he's doing it.
Yeah, this is the page. Yeah, this is the page. This is the work, right? So
Right.
the rest is just hours, right? And but this is the work. This is storytelling work, and this is where you know you help me a lot because you provide layouts and stuff or action, you know, dynamics and things. But then I have to absorb it and then retell it in my own way so it makes sense and stuff. So this is where I do all the narration and I control the eye lines and the acting between the characters and the gesture.
Yeah, we should mention I send like for a lot of these pages I'll send Xurxo basically really ugly, like kind of worse than this, super rough thumbnails, and then he sends me back thumbnails. So we're doing like a 2-process thumbnailing,
iterative process, yeah.
And then he starts drawing them.
Yeah, but this is the I call it is like wire work or something. But I feel I love my mom's a sculpture artist, and I feel like this is like a lot of sculpture process, you know. You put the shapes, you know, there's storytelling like Brandon is helping me with, right? And the laying of the panels and the direction and everything. But then this line work that you see here is very gestural and it's very like it's like when you get a piece of clay and you just mess with it for 2 seconds, and then that's sculpture, and then you work on that for a year, right? Or for 10 minutes or for whatever lifetime. But the sculpture was done that first few with those few moves, right? Because that's the gesture, right, that you're looking for. And then there you get the background and the size and the scale and everything, and then you have to achieve that later on, and you have to use the tools at hand, right? Perspective, dynamics, color, volume, distance, whatever trickery that you can apply, right?
So take us to the next stage here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then you know you start to get a little more complex, right?
So your structural, this is essentially your structural stage. Even though you had a strong structure with the wireframe stage, this one is actually rendering out the forms. I like the cross contour that you have on the figure there.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in many other artists. Like I feel like that's like it's almost like a Bern Hogarth, like a dynamic anatomy trick of like the contour.
This crossing stuff. It's because this character is made out of arrows. So it was going to be very, very important to have direction and volume represented in each segment, right? But I've seen type of wire work. I've seen art used when he draws Godzilla or some robot, or because he's so detailed. Particularly also when he draws large figures, he's so detailed. When he draws these large figures, and he does his magnificent cross hatching, right, which is uncanny. He does layout like this to follow the volume, right? So, but I don't use that all the time. What I do use is this sort of this wiring for the character, these mannequin sort of things that I learned by following the great artist course by what's his name, the great artist course, those volumes of what's his name, I mean, oh my god,
Are you talking about Loomis?
Dorn.
Oh, Bern Hogarth.
Dorn.
Oh, Bern Hogarth. Yeah.
Bern Hogarth also is great, but very gestural. But Albert Dorn. Albert Dorn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he put together the great artist course, and he had their oh my god, what is the most famous illustrator in America? Spielberg collects it, and George Lucas collects it.
Oh,
yeah, the guy boating, and the guy and the girl going to school, the black girl going to school.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know. Norman Rockwell.
Yeah, Rockwell.
Yeah. He's in there too. And there I got this very, very beautiful use of mannequins, very simple. Albert Dorn, amazing draftsman, amazing artist, clean mannequin work, and I learned this from him as far as I could. I mean, I'm obviously nothing compared to him, and then I studied a lot of Garcia Lopez, Garcia Lopez, Alan Davis, these magnificent draftsmen are just
I hadn't made the Garcia Lopez connection, but that totally makes sense. Like,
oh, I love Garcia Lopez. I have drawn Garcia Lopez very often. Just the structure. I have just gone through all of Atari 4s. Just sit down and just draw the structure for each guy, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, until I was done, and just to learn and practice. And then I would go to photographs and do the same, right? Do these structural studies. Very simple, just mannequins, and directions. And I learned, I don't 10% of what they do. I mean, these guys are. I mean,
is this something you still do? Do you keep up the practice process to kind of keep yourself in it, or is it something that you did years ago and that you kind of absorbed, and these days you're busy with work?
I did this last time I did it, it was during the pandemic, so maybe like 3-4 years ago, or 3 years ago, I would still do it. And when I'm drawing pages like this, I do it all the time. And I do it with the hands and things, and I refresh all the time. Now I am working on the Moonray project, the video game, right? So I'm working on concept art and stuff. So anatomy and all that stuff is not so relevant, and the exactitude of anatomy. But when you're trying to act, for the characters to act, and to reflect emotion and through gesture, it does become very, very important, right? And also when you have this slight level of realism, you want to keep things contained within that parameter, because if you make a very cartoony foot in a very realistic body, it's gonna pop out and break continuity of believability, right? So you have to stick to those rules. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that's the color roughs.
Yeah, let's go to the ink. This would be the ink.
Huh. Wow.
This would be the ink.
So you're using a darker brush throughout and, really just going to town. How
Yeah,
far in do you let yourself get? And it's always within the structure that you've already established in the previous stages, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
See, this is the structure here again. See,
Right.
and this is the guy. Sorry, there's so many layers. I'm sorry, but you see, the guy is so intricate. He's made out of arrows, right? So in order for you to see and understand this image, and for me to understand this image, I had to follow this very tedious planning, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I should qualify. I didn't ask you to do this. This was you just self-flagellating. I think the monster was just like.
You told me that if I didn't do it, I would be fired. So yes, I mean, yeah, it wasn't asking. There's other ways to. Yeah,
And then
and this is a color pass,
okay.
a flat color pass, right? With a bit of volume already. I
Right.
have so many layers, but I mean, I can just.
Yeah, it's crazy. My pages have 3 or 4 layers usually.
Yeah, I don't mind. They're free, so I just put 100. I'm
And-
trying not, because I always want to retain control. So I want to go back and change something or adjust something, and I can keep harmony that way.
Where do these
So,
textures come from that's happening on the sand? This modeled texture that's happening on the sand here.
yeah,
What is?
those are brushes that I did myself, just simple dots, just dot brushes. I did some dot brushes for Moonray for these pages because they were on the desert. So I did some dot brushes. I just put a number of dots on a square and converted it into a brush, so I could
Interesting.
repeat. Yeah,
Your color is unbelievable. I mean, I know you don't need to tell you that, but your design sense is just quite incredible with your color. You and Brandon both do kind of key certain scenes with different color combinations, but I think you get really outrageous with your color combinations. Are you thinking about these while you're working on the line art stage, or is this happening afterwards in a kind of exploratory fashion?
That's a good question. I do think about it. I mean, I have an awareness of where they are, right? They're in the desert in this case, so I know the desert. The sky's gonna be green, and the desert's gonna be yellow and red and stuff. So I'm in those parameters, right?
Okay.
But yeah, it's not something that really comes early. I do explore it, and I do a ton of adjustments. I spend tons of time on the hue and saturation device from Photoshop, just adjusting up and down a particular color,
Right.
until I'm happy with it, and then I copy that color and swatch it and use the swatch, right? I do general adjustments. I rarely do general saturation adjustments or general levels adjustments in my art, in my drawings, because I like the clear line thing and the tinting look and stuff. So I want it flat and repeatable, right? So I use everything. I missed this step. So right after the inks, I do this, which is the halftone thing or bitone that I call.
And this is usually the next step that I see. This is what Shersha will send me.
Yeah.
Like I'll get the kind of purple toned.
Yeah, because when I do this purple thing, I consider the page. When I'm done with this purple stage, I consider the page done, right?
Okay.
So because here you get all the volume, and I also do the atmosphere, right? So I do atmosphere. There's full atmosphere here already in bitone, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're only very selectively doing modeling at this stage because a lot of the modeling is being carried by the accumulation of detail. Right, exactly.
Yeah. But also this determines the volume. The volume was set on the sketch stage. The line is just basically outline and a slight intuition or indication of volume, and then the bitone provides the volume. That's how you get the empty. the empty sort of
Yeah.
the empty ball, only outline in the outside, and the contrasting colors provide the volume.
So
How
in a
smooth
classical standpoint, this would be the underpainting. If you look at like an Ingres painting or something like that, this would be executed in oils in a gray or a cool tone, and then painted over, glazed on top. So how are you applying this, like technologically? How are you applying this to the finished color? Like, are the finished colors modifying this?
Yeah, the other way around. It's a multiply layer. It's a multiply folder with many layers, and the multiply goes over the color and provides the two tone. This I got from not directly, but the idea comes from anime, right? In anime, you get this great bitone always, right? Very simple, pam pam, to shadow and outline shadow,
simple cell shading of
and
basically.
color. Yeah, just the three, right? Right, and just limit it to that. So the purple provides this. It's a mild purple. Provides the tone for everything, the bitone for everything, without having to choose complementary colors for each iteration of color that you use.
So then pop the other layer on top so we can see the shift. Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
Yeah, so there, you see.
Yeah, so just flat colors that are.
Wow.
So this is Tintin stage, Tintin, Tantan,
Right.
sorry, Tantan,
Yeah.
RJ, right? And this is anime, right? Anime stage, right?
Right.
So that's the goal. Because also when I started working with Brandon and stuff with Kiem and things, and even earlier, and with that early story that Brandon mentioned, that stuff, my goal was to have things look like 80s anime, but like really expensive, right? Like the ones that they can't do anymore, right?
Right.
The
Akira.
Right. And, I'm a huge fan of Saint Seiya and Cobra, Space Agent, Cobra, and all that stuff, right? I swear by that stuff, and so elaborate backgrounds and lighter figures with the bitone, but a very photographic, which is very Akira inspired, very very photographic final look, right? So you get all these cells, you put them together, and then you add light effects over them, so they blur out and they wash out, and that way they marry, right? Which is something that you don't see that often on American animation.
Well,
particularly on video.
You have an incredibly interesting technique, and the pages are just really wild together. I hate to cut it short, but we promise this as a teaser one. Would you come back and do essentially like another page and sort of talk us like on another video, like talk us through your process one by one?
I will, but just before we go, just let the final.
Yeah, of course. Here I'm denying
the floating cube in the sky.
The stuff I was talking about, the washout effect. This is the layer. So this is the atmosphere, right? This provides the atmosphere.
Oh my gosh.
It washes out and it provides a volume, and you are in the place, right? This is when you put all the cells together and you shoot it, and you put some extra light on the side,
right?
So it burns a bit of the image, and it's not as concise and as sharp. And this sends stuff backward and forward and stuff.
And do you have these atmosphere layers? Are they canned? Are you able to apply them like one page at a time? Like take all those atmosphere layers and just pop them on?
No, it's like a suit. You have to make each one for each. It's like a tailored suit.
Right.
And each page is like a painting, and each panel is like a scene in a movie. So you have it really goes nuts. It really gets crazy if there's a lot of panels, and if they're in a lot of environments. This one is particularly just one environment right now. So it gets really complicated if there's like, if we are switching scenes between one place and another, you have to adjust a lot more and recreate everything. But as I move along in the story, I do create those swatches. So I always put the same atmospheric effects or tones, or try, and then adjust a little bit for drama as well. So, you know, because you get too literal and you forget the drama, right? You get too literal with these mechanics, you know, like, okay, this swatch here, this swatch there, this swatch here, this swatch there, you forget the drama, and the drama is very important. So sometimes you have to make something red because whatever, you know, or blue or for whatever. So you have to keep reminding yourself that, hey, you're telling a story, not just replicating.
I'm gonna give away my very, very simple, like monkey brain version of this. I'm gonna go ahead and just say, every time I've colored something that I wanted to turn from a flat color or slightly modeled, basically if I take the bitone plus flat color model that you were at before you turned on your atmospherics, and I want this really quick, and I don't have a precise result in mind. All I want is the softening and the sort of painterly like wash to it. I will take landscape high-res scans of landscape paintings by Turner, the great landscape painter Turner, and I will pop that across the entire image and play along with blending layers and percentage changes until Turner has worked some magic upon the thing. And you oftentimes I end up doing the exact same thing that you're talking about, where I'm lighting it from the left by just taking a dodge and just dodging the Turner layer until you've got like an additional sort of directional light effect. I'm not saying that this is the same thing. Obviously, you have an incredibly tailored performance, but anybody who wants to cheat this in a functional but quick kind of way, I'm giving away the secrets here. I know.
I should try that. But Brandon knows very well that this takes forever. I'm very slow. It's very methodical.
It's relative. You're faster than people would expect because you do this regularly. And like just with Moonray, I think you've got like 100 pages of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
so it builds up pretty quickly. Like it's funny. I think something that artists do is we convince ourselves that we're slower than we are is almost a trick to get ourselves like sometimes, like, I don't think of myself as a particularly fast artist, but I'm aware when I talk to other artists, like I'm faster than a lot of them. And so it's this weird, like, it's a weird kind of filling the ocean with a teardropper, you know, it's like eventually it comes together. Cause it's not like you're working slow but steady, and that builds up a lot of pages.
Yeah, the Moonray project was very nice for that because it allowed us to really focus and just keep working with no deadline, with deadlines, very important, but with no market sort of reflection on terms of continuity, you know. So we could just keep plowing, and that was very, very, very good for me. But I can always go faster, and I should. You know, I'm learning. I mean, I want to do more comics, of course, but I'm not working as much right now on that because of the other job. But I would like to compress and collapse processes to be more efficient and stuff. But
we'll have to do some very simple Tintin comics in the future.
What?
We'll have to do some Tintin style comics in the future.
Yeah. Some other stuff first. We have to do Kiem, and we have to do this, and we have to do a bunch of stuff.
Well, I am all about Kiem, so you guys let me know how far away you are from the end point, and we should definitely talk about a collection, because this incredible work, just the stuff that's been published, and drooling about the idea of there being
there's
80 more pages.
There's 2 issues drawn.
That's fantastic.
One published, so there's 3.
Well, Sure. Just incredible work, and thanks for taking us through this spread. Please pick up Moonray Volume 1 and Volume 2, and everyone, please come back and visit us again and talk more about your I would like to take and just do like a single panel and go through and really like break down like your thought process and everything, especially because of the way that you've done sort of multiple stages contributing to the end image. I mean, just your first one is so gestural and so like classic animation. The second one is so Bernhardt constructionalist, like, you know, building the shape of it prior to the sculpture. And then the end product, like you said, is like early 80s expensive anime on steroids. It's just quite an incredible combination. And if you would like to hear Xurxo give away all his secrets, let us know what you're looking for in the comments, and we will try to do this on a repeatable basis and see what else we can come up for you.
Yeah, build the beams.
Exactly. Well, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, good talking to you guys.